Okay. I think what we need to do today in particular is, first of all, you tell us what the problems are, and I think we should just really focus on the problems of the disaster relating to flooding, erosion, and problems with the stabilization of sea levees or riverbanks or river levees, and then and some discussion about the social issues, and then we'll get our friends from Vietnam will show what they've done with stabilizing, using vetiver for infrastructure stabilization, particularly in central Vietnam and down in the south in Mekong Delta. And Mohammed will give us a briefing on where things stand now in Bangladesh. It's 5 years since we had his last briefing, so I imagine we've had some movement since then. And after that, we'll just open it up and have a discussion. I think we shouldn't try and get it to be too wide and too complex at this time, because otherwise we'll just have a sort of rambling discussion and won't end up with anything. And but I can assure you that all of us in this meeting have a commitment, one way or the other, of trying to help with these problems caused by the extreme weather events which are affecting infrastructure and people, and where we can get vetiver in and use it properly at a much lower cost and a much easier way of getting things fixed, then it's the way to go if we can go that way. And of course, it's not a standalone thing. It's got to be tied in with some hard infrastructure, and also I think the mangrove forest plantings are also very, very important and a part of a green solution. So why don't we pass it over to you, Samsun, and you give us your presentation. Please keep it to within 20 minutes because we do have limited time. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. You tell me when to change it, okay?
Yeah, sure. And yes, to start with this particular presentation is in relation to the field survey that Samir Patitunda had made in several regions of the Sunderban, especially which falls in the three areas, especially the most vulnerable and the less vulnerable and the stable areas. So I consider Samir had made a visit to most of these extremely devastated areas, especially this is the Inland Waterways Authority of India that has quite a quantity of land that has been devastated. And after this, you can change the slide for this. After this, so after he made his visit, he found out that the storm surges has actually not only broken the mud walls. It actually entered the sweet water. It has mixed with the sweet water. So the chances of the economics of this area has totally been damaged, especially saline water when it gets into the mainland, or especially where the people are engaged in the pisciculture. This destroys the infrastructure, especially when the mud walls get totally damaged. Then especially the people find it more difficult for them to create a sustenance or get back to the normal life, because the water, uh, drinking water has to be arranged from some other places, as well as this the activities totally gets curtailed. So going to the next slide, where we see that I particularly don't know the actual locations, because that's up to Samir, who had made the visits. It's observation that he had made. So probably I would have to take his help probably next time. So you can go for the next slide. Yeah, this is a typical image of a location of a village, where normally they would have a pond associated with their house, because the pond is the source of their life, and that is where they do the pisciculture. And you can very well see that how badly the soil is exposed. Most of them, these are saline prone water, and it gets even worse when these plants are not there. So there is total damage that has happened over here, where this normal water or the sweet water is no longer a sweet water. It is totally a saline water now. Going to the next slide. So in this one, yes, this is a typical cultivable area where the most of the farmers do their paddy cultivation, and it becomes more difficult when flood water gets into this level. So and then cultivation becomes even more difficult. So because of the salinity. So the major challenge over here is that when we see go through these presentations, especially where the water of the sea has totally mingled with the inland water. So this is one of the biggest challenges that currently that they are facing. Especially, it could be related to sanitation. It could be related to the health hazards that they are facing, and also um, the level of water rise that is actually keeping them in a very stressed mode to carry out their activities. You can go to the next slide, and probably tells the same story, and the next slide would be here we see
searching for relief materials. These people are searching, waiting for relief materials.
Uh-huh.
Relief materials coming through riverways.
Uh-huh.
We went to this spot along with relief materials, and people are waiting just on the bank of the river for relief materials.
Okay, I understand. Yeah. Okay.
Now we are discussing local situation along with one local people, what happening there and what happened during this cyclone. All these um, river beds, these are damaged. This is Kumirmari Gram Panchayat, Kumirmari Gram Panchayat of Gosaba. And this boy sitting near us, this one lady you are looking, she is ex-MLA, member of Legislative Assembly of South 24 Parganas, Anuradha Dev. And the boy you are looking, he is reporting Sajjalia area, affected area, Sajjalia of Gosaba.
Okay.
There's this place you can go by road, then by uh, riverways.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Ferry.
No train link directly. You are looking the map, Sundarban area, the yellow colored. These are forest.
This area. Okay.
And southernmost part, blue color, this is Bay of Bengal.
And you see there are three different parts of this location, which we have tried to show you. Especially the green line show the core zone, which comprises all legally protected areas of the Sundarban, which means it is the location, it is the line that boundaries with Bangladesh, especially the Bangladesh and
No,
India.
this is
And
reserve forest. Green, deep
river,
green is reserve forest.
okay, okay, okay,
This green
okay.
line is demarcation between reserve forest and people's habitation, location, locality, and reserve forest. Green line is the demarcation line.
Okay, so this area to the right here, this area where the arrow is, this is Bangladesh, right?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
to the right.
And this is the tiger reserve in here, right? National Park or whatever it is.
Yes.
Yes, this is on the Bay of Bengal. That blue color is Bay of Bengal.
Right. Yeah. And this is the forest. And then what about this area here? Is this the what do you call the sandwich area? Or is this the very exposed area where there's a lot of damage?
Here we went earlier. You have seen the picture. We are
Okay.
discussing some people, local people on the launch. That
Right.
is Kumir Mari of Gosaba, Kumarmari. Kumir Mari. Kumir means crocodile. Crocodile attacked common people, so the name of the locality became Kumir Mari.
Okay.
These rivers are full of crocodiles. These are the damaged concrete made of concrete and bricks, semi-permanent, permanent natures, riverside. So these are damaged.
Is there increasing damage, more and more damage occurring nowadays?
Yes, in new area actually in Sundarban, it consists of both south and north 24 Parganas. Then eastern side there is Bangladesh. So in West Bengal, that is in India, Sundarban have 3,500 kilometers riverside, and out of that, mostly 1,000 kilometers is very vulnerable.
Okay.
Occasionally, it is damaged.
Yeah.
And so these areas should be looked after centrally for permanent nature repairing of the river bed, river side.
Okay.
Common cause of erosion, one major thing is river bed is almost silt choked. Silt choked river bed is not dredging. Through dredging, we should increase the capacity of carrying water when heavy rainfall is there or tide. The water's height of the tide from Bay of Bengal is increased. So our this riverside should be permanent nature riverside protection is necessary. And mostly we are thinking, our local people thinks three barricade to protect this high tide. One mangrove, first just on the bank of the river, mangrove, then that riverside permanent nature river, bank of the river that should be prepared. Then trees, series of trees, that is coconut, this type of trees which can protect from cyclonic weather, local people which can protect. So these three barricades should be guaranteed in at least 1,000 kilometer riverside.
Okay.
I think so I have been able to communicate little bit.
Yes, sir, definitely. Mane, you have definitely given us an insight. And please continue.
Okay.
এই নদীপথের ইংরেজি ভুলে গেছি গো। Embankment. Embankment of the river, that is 1,000 kilometers is vulnerable, and 2,500 kilometers, another kilometers where permanent nature embankment also done, concrete made of bricks, and somewhere only through earth filling also can be protected. Local people can be protected.
Yeah.
And most of the people, riverine area, they are agriculture, they are peasants cultivating crops and fishermen.
Right.
So all these fishermen, they are going to collect fish from the river, and that is also one of the cause of damage of the embankment.
Right. Okay.
And these people are also going to reserve forest to collect honey and fish. So they are being attacked by Royal Bengal tiger.
Okay.
Honey of Sundarban is very famous.
All right. Let's go to the next one.
Bengal variety prawn, that prawn also available in this river. This is salted water, so prawn is very much there. So they are collecting prawns from this river. Sometimes they are being attacked by tiger on the land and attacked by crocodile in the water.
We come to this particular slide where we are having this point where we are trying to take this, like after understanding and evaluating the current scenario and the situation, as Samir has already done a very good survey of the locations and extreme locations of Sundarban, understanding how and what the problems are. And today, I think based on these problems, what are the probable situations we can create, or what are the probable solutions that we can provide? That is the subject of discussion today. So this is where we have just tried to create a module where communities as the principal stakeholder on the left hand, then we have reduction of risk and vulnerabilities in the right hand side. Then we have multi-stakeholder involvement in planning and implementation, that is the government, and convergent green technologies for sustainable habitat, where vetiver can play a role in this, apart from the other mangroves and other plantations. So ecosystem protection and restoration, climate change is the core of the discussion here.
Okay.
Actually, local people's demand is now not relief. They are demanding for permanent nature river bank. So protection of river bank, and apart from government, some NGOs, private agencies, and local people are also ready to volunteer service for this protection of this river bank. But altogether, comprehensive total planning is absent. Something is being done, but that is temporary nature, and always these happenings in rainy season, this problem is coming up.
Okay. All right. Well, that's very interesting, and obviously, you know the area very well. Before you joined the meeting, we said we would just try for this discussion focus on where the Vetiver system can really help provide some of the stabilization you need, and it's very something that people themselves can get involved in too. If the communities want to get involved, they demand results now, and they get involved, then Vetiver System is one which could help them do that at relatively low cost. So I suggest now that we have our friends from Vietnam,
Yes.
Van Tran and Man Tran to give a short presentation of how they've used vetiver in very similar situations as you have in Bangladesh.
I would like to give a very brief presentation for the use of vetiver system in the north, whereas my colleagues, Mẫn, and then probably after Professor Truong will give you a better presentation on the use of vetiver grass in central Vietnam and in the Mekong Delta. I will be very brief. So here is the site. You can see on the left the location, and on the right it is the location where we first applied in 2004. Usually we have a very rigorous dike system, sea dike system, with rock riprap at the outside bottom and very big pieces of rock riprap, and the cost is about $1 to $5 million US per kilometers. But after a few years, it is what is left, and the big rock pieces become rounded and very small. And here is another look. And if you look further to the sea direction, you can see how rigorous it is, the system. So it is very costly, this kind of sea dike system. Okay. And further inland are some churches abandoned by the attack of the sea. So in 2004, we, together with Danish Red Cross, came to this area to try to introduce vetiver grass. And after several trials, we planted a few rows. Here is where we planted, but incidentally, we found that the local farmers also tried themselves. And here's one site that a local guy planted. You can have a look at how he designed. At the lowermost part of the dike, he used the wine pineapple trees. Okay. And here they planted some vetiver seedling in between the local grasses. And here you can see some plots that vetiver already grown up, and some other plot that vetiver was just planted. And here is the result several months later. Yeah. First, there are some lessons which can be drawn out from this trial. For a good start, planting on the inner side of the dike to prevent erosion during storm surge is a good start. And after this, if successful, we can try the outside, the outer side. And vetiver grass is better used mostly on the upper part of the dike, about 1 meters above groundwater level, and local trees at the lowermost part. This is for the vetiver root system to go down and to be long enough. Otherwise, if we plant vetiver grass right at the water level, then the root system will not develop. The grass will become very lazy. Planting too low to the groundwater level would not facilitate the root growth. And step by step planting from several parts of for the vetiver to establish before moving more closely to the seawater. And proper care, watering, fertilizers, proper timing. You know, in North Vietnam, we have 4 seasons. So proper timing is very important. And even more important is proper design. So here is some lesson from an experience in North Vietnam. Now I would like to ask my colleagues from Central Vietnam, Mẫn, to continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vang. Let me share the presentation about the recent project that we have done in Danang. This is a small project, but then we think that if this is successful, then we can scale it up. So I will focus. So this is the site that we are doing. Can you see it clearly?
Yep.
All right. So this is the river bank near a bridge, and we lost about 11 meters of river bank in the last 10 years. So the government give us the fund, and so we can do some suggestions. So what we do when we come to the site, we do all the analysis. We do the flow analysis. We got all the data from the government over the last 5 years. So we get the off-peak and peak and off-peak water level and flow. So that we put into the design. We inspect the site. So here is the site. Can you see the site now?
Mm-hmm.
It's quite steep, and you know, there's lots of bamboo over there, and even when they have a bamboo over there, the erosion is still seriously happen. So we come up with the concept that we usually do. So we use vetiver on the top of the slope, and then we will have another solution to protect the slope. I mean the river bank underneath the water. So this is the design. We use the bamboo pile, the bamboo pole, and pin it into the water. So you can see over here, this is the 1.5 meter water level. This is the lowest water level in the dry season. And during the flood season, it can come up to 2.2 meter. You can see it. So the vetiver, we will plant it on the slope, and we use the bamboo pile over here and connect it with a steel pile on the top of the slope to make a rigid body. So the reason why we need this structure, because it's very important to protect the slope underneath the water from prevent the secondary flow to damage the structures. This is very important. So we do some computer simulation to put it there for the design over here. And you know, when we put it into the computer simulation, the figure showing some very good result there. We do a comparison between the slope with the protection, the concrete structures, and also the vetiver system. And the results are very interesting, you know, results over there. The concrete structure doing quite well in terms of the slope stability factor of safety, doing a better, you know, job than the vetiver, but they're not much different. But then when you come up with the price, I mean the cost of the project, there's a big difference between the vetiver and bamboo. The cost for this site, we do it is 10 times lower. Exactly, it's about 13 times lower than the concrete structure. The reason why we can save a lot of money like that, because we use the local material. We use the bamboo that we can find around the site. We can use the the labor of the local community, so that we save a lot of money in this. So Vetiver System show a very good result in terms of the technical part and also in terms of the economical side. So this is the side when we do the construction. You can see it. There is some serious, erosion over here. So we clear the site, and then we apply the bamboo system over here to protect the part underneath the water, and then we plant vetiver. We connect all the part together by the steel wire. And after 2 weeks, the vetiver system established well over here. We do a lot of water, and after 1 month, for this side, the vetiver grow quite slow because of the size of the bamboo. But then because we do a combination between the bamboo pies and the other structures, so it's growing quite well. So after 90 days, this is 3 months later, the grass grow well, and the roots established, well enough to the soil, and at some sides, at some good sides, the root can grow up to 1 meter long. Yeah, and the size for this size, it has survived through the last flood season, and I think that we can scale up this project in next year, do it a longer part of it, and protect the riverside of this site.
Thank you, man. That's very interesting. Actually, the problem we have with the sub water surface part of the embankment has always been a problem, and I think the system you've developed really is quite an interesting one, and it seems to work too. Okay, now let's have Mohammad. We'll have your presentation now, and then we can have a discussion after that.
So actually, thank you very much, everyone, to giving me the opportunity. I'll not tell so many things, just I'll show some photographs. So use of Vetiver system for flood embankment coastal infrastructures in Bangladesh. So these are actually the several photos. I'm showing the different slope protection problems in Bangladesh. The first photo is about the river bank. Brahmaputra River, you can see the soils are very alluvial soil, and these shifts every time. So that is a big problem for the river bank protection. And also we have some hilly areas in Bangladesh. So this is the hill slopes. And the bottom photographs, it shows the shrimp ponds in the coastal zone of Bangladesh near Sunderban areas. Is in Satkhira. And also you see these are the shrimp ponds, dykes, so it should be protected. And also a village in the Howard districts. The Howard means, the lowland basin. So during, monsoon, rainy season, every village becomes like island. So, and also you see that the close photographs, I have taken it from the northern part of Bangladesh. And this is due to the alluvial deposit of the nature of the soil. So this shifts continuously. So that's why it causes the river bank erosion, and also the migration of many people. So this is a photo from the video from the satellite. You can see the movement of the rivers. You all know about it. So these are the complex dynamics, make the problems very difficult. And also this is a very common story every year in Bangladesh. So for example, this lady showing her NID, national ID, where her village was just at this place, but after some years, so she lost her, village. So it is a common story. And to protect, Bangladesh engineering departments, they use sandbag and concretes, etc. But most of the times, in many cases, it doesn't work. So the question is, so this is a photographs I have taken, many years ago from near the Sunderban. You see, and the other side is Sunderban. and behind is a embankment, earthen embankment, coastal embankment. So they're trying to protect using bamboo and embankments. But after some, in the same year, due to the wave action and the flow of the river, it becomes eroded. So actually in Bangladesh, and also in the same in West Bengal, the protection of the slope is a big challenge using the hard structures even. So these are some photographs that showing some common problems in Bangladesh. So first one is a flood embankment. You see the embankment is already very close to the river, and so there is no protection even using vegetation and other plants or trees. So this will be damaged within 1 or 2 seasons. So this is a common scenario. And also the next photograph shows the coastal embankment, and as you see, due to the wave action and raincut erosion, it has become already vertical, and so there is no protection measure, and the compaction condition is also not good. So in the next photograph, you can see that rail embankment in one district of Bangladesh. So the rail could not be used in the even first season because the embankment was constructed very good. The density was, compaction was very good, but even in the first season, the embankment was washed away, many parts, because of the dispersive nature of the soil. So although it becomes very hard during dry, but during rainy season, due to rainfall, it becomes very, very soft and washable. So there is another kind of very problematic soil for the rail embankments in many locations and embankments. And the next photographs you see, again, the coastal embankment that I showed you in the earlier photographs, and the other part is Sunderban. So in the first season, it has washed away. So you see, so there is the difficulties, within for the embankments in Bangladesh. So, these are common. You also saw from the West Bengal presentation, the failure of riverbank, and is a common story in Bangladesh. And so even it was protected by very hard solution. The very costly and concrete blocks and jute textiles, it did not work in many places. And this photograph you can see very interesting. I have taken these photographs, few years back. So the water board, they have protected the riverbank using this costly method of concrete block. But even in the first season, you see the water level is very below. The rainy season has not yet come, but this protection has already broken. So these are the common stories actually. So these photographs I have taken. Sorry, I have taken from. Can you hear me properly?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So from the Howard districts in 2016, you see this is a Howard village has been protected by local government using very costly structures using this is the 2 wall of concrete. RCC, and also the protection by concrete blocks, and under that is jute textile. So even in the first season, it was broken. So due to the wave action, they locally call it AFAL. This is very huge wave action, like sea wave action in the Howard districts. So, and I have investigated the people along with my colleagues. So actually there are so mechanics, so many, I will not go in detail, but also the problem was not only technical, that also that due to the interaction between the local people. Because there are 2 phases in the development. The people were asked to develop raise the land, and the local government, they put the protection. You can see the local government, as I mentioned, the contractor, they have finished their work, but the local people were not motivated enough or not capable to put the land properly. That's why, so this depression makes the water stagnant here, and the water percolated and make pressure, and due to the water pressure and the wave action, the structures will collapse. So these are some of the many stories in Bangladesh. So during designing, even in West Bengal and other parts, we have to consider not only the geotechnical and the technical solutions, also we have to involve the local community so that it can work together. Otherwise, the success is very rare. So actually, then I will show you a case study in a flood prone in Bangladesh. So this is a road photograph. So due to the rain cut erosion, every year the road used to, eroded. And then the Road and Highways Department, they are trying the general method using sandbag. So this is a common practice. And after the 1 or 2 seasons, it becomes again eroded. So this is the common story. So then I get the opportunity in 2012 to do a piloting there. So one side, they use the conventional method where you use, brick wall constructed, you can see, and the left side, it was the Vetiver. So it was very difficult for me to convince them, but fortunately, I got the opportunity and did the trial. And you can see, after 1 year, it worked very well. But in the front of the brick wall, there was subsidence because of the poor design of the porehole, weak holes in the wall. So it gave me the opportunity for giving confidence to the Roads and Highways Department. And so after that, we are monitoring until 2019. After that, I could not go there due to COVID, but still the road is working very well. And then now you can see the condition of the road embankment. And after that, there was no erosion at all, actually. But there are many things about the maintenance because there was no fund for the maintenance of the grasses. So it was natural and other grasses and trees were grown. But so vetiver grass disappeared in many places, but the protection of the slope has been established very well. So this is a photograph from the coastal belt, near Sunderban. This is in Satkhira district in Bangladesh. You can see, so again, these are dykes for shrimp ponds. So every year, the problem is happen. So when the tidal surge comes, so this, small dykes washed away, and the, mighty persons, they just take into they take the land of the poor people. So then came the problem of marking of the islands, the dykes. So then I suggested to use vetiver grass to make the boundary of the land. So then it worked very well. But there is salinity problem, and there are some photographs in the coastal belt for the local government road slope protection. These are rural roads in many districts, like in several districts in coastal zone, and you can see this works very well. It was funded by IFAD, the project. You can see the photographs from different road slope projects. And also UNDP cooperated us to do 2 piloting in 2 districts and bank of, Brahmaputra. One is in, you can see the Nageshwari, it's just northern part of Bangladesh. Another is the very close to the Brahmaputra river, that is in Chilmari. So this is this is a small village in the Chor. Chor is a small island, So this is the situation before. We also put jute textile. That is also biodegradable, locally made in Bangladesh and India. So for the initial production, we use the jute textile, and in between that, we have planted vetiver grass. And you see after that season, after 3-4 months, this is the situation of the planted site, and it worked very well. And also another site in the, you see, this is the river bank that is in Chilmari. So this is the initial, protection. So, and this is the after growth of vetiver. So in that year, in 2016, there was a flash flood affected the area, and it worked very well in that location. So then this is the complete different dynamics in our districts. So the area during dry season, they use this road, and during monsoon, it becomes an island. So the dynamics is that, so these roads are called submersible road. So during dry season, these roads can be used, and during monsoon, so this goes underwater. So the question is the protection of the slopes using suitable grasses is necessary so that it can survive underwater. So that is a big challenge in the Howard district. So then I have simulated very simple at my university. We made some glass models and bring the soils from Howard districts and planted vetiver grasses in the glass models on the rooftop of our university. And then I put submergence for 7 days, 1 month, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, like that, and 8 weeks. And after that, we just opened the tap. You can see that it was a very smart system. So the water was released. And after that, again, I used to allow to grow them. And you can see that this after condition that goes very well. So this monitoring gave a confidence that this vetiver grass can survive under submergence very well. And this photograph I have taken from Howard district. So the local people told that this grows 3 years back, and it survived 3 years submergence underwater. And after that, again, it grows naturally. So that gave confidence to the local people. And also in the IFAD funded local government project, we have implemented this technology for protection of the village island. You can see. So the community people, they do this themselves. I teach them how to do that. So this is this location you can see. This is near a river. This is called Singular River. And during flood season, monsoon, this all area becomes flooded. You can see. So these are the locality. You see the villages. So in that places, it worked very well. And also, this is just before the COVID affected in March 2020 with Bangladesh Army, I tried to piloting a flood embankment protection using vetiver grass in the Sundarbans channel that is also near the sea of the Bay of Bengal. So you can see this is the flood embankment, the made of earth embankment. And after that, we planted vetiver grass with help of the water board and the Bangladesh Army. Just I could take last photograph in September 2020, but I have heard that that is working very well in that situation, very, very difficult situation. So, and also I had communication with, Big Dream Show that I had got the opportunity to implement vetiver grass for the protection of rail embankment. As I showed you, the problem of dispersive soil and rain cut erosion in the Padda Bridge railing project. This is a huge mega project, prestigious project in Bangladesh. And in this project, 130-kilometer long rail embankment will be constructed. And the design is to protect this embankment slope using local turfing grasses. And I could show them, I got the opportunity to trial just in the month of May, before the rainy season. So this is the present situation. And I tried here 5 types of, plantation, to show the people there. And these are some photographs, just recent photographs in June. You see, this is already grown very well. And in next month, we will have demonstration to the people of Bangladesh Army, Bangladesh Railway, and also CRC from China, that how does it work in comparison with other turfing there. They are using the local durba grasses and etc. So, and also I have used several types of plantation scheme here so that the people can understand what is the difference there. And this is also a 5 to 7 meter high embankment in the floodplain of Bangladesh. So actually we are talking about Sundarban today. So there are 2 parts of Sundarban. One part is in West Bengal, as you know, and one part is in Bangladesh. And already we have some experiences near the Sundarban areas in Borishal, in Khulna, and near the locations where we have used vetiver grasses for the coastal protection and coastal embankment protection. So these are the things from my side. So this is from me. Thank you very much.
That is a massive sea dike, Mohammed, 7 to 9 meters.
Yeah, so what are they doing actually? The 3 layers, protection. First, a small breakwater, then another interim embankment, then the main embankment. So 3-layer design. So the wave energy will be break up. At first, the breakwater structure, then it will be again protected by the interim embankment, and after that, the main embankment will be thrusted. So it is about 13-kilometer, circular embankment. So for the land side, the countryside, so it is not wise to use hard solution. So it is government is constructing that. So I am talking with them, and probably they are very positive for doing that. I suggest them to use vetiver-based system for putting the landslide, not landslide, the countryside portion of the embankment. So let's see how does it work.
You mentioned it's 70 meters high in moment, the dike.
Yeah, 7 meters.
70. 7, yeah. Okay.
7, not 70. 70, not 7 meters.
Yeah.
7 to 9 sometimes, but generally 7 meters.
Yeah, that's good.
So these are the things, and also if I get the opportunity, I'll show one photograph in our northern districts. So there is called Howland. So these are very, very, difficult areas to protect the infrastructures. So the very complete dynamics, even though Bangladesh is very small. So the dynamics of this embankment protection for the coastal belt and for the Howard districts and the mainland. So mainland is floodplain, mostly. So these are completely different dynamics all over the country. Right. And another big problem for us, the soil is mainly sandy soil for the embankments. So protection of sandy soil from erosion is very, very difficult task. So that's why wherever we need to make roads or flood embankment or coastal embankment, So we have to protect it in some mechanism. So that's why it becomes very, very costly. The maintenance cost and the construction cost, both. So these are the scenario. I think in US
Government listen to you, Mohammed?
Yes.
When you give talks to government officials, do they
Yes.
listen to you and do something?
Yeah, so 15 years back, it was very difficult. But now, so 15 after working for last many years with all the government agencies, fortunately, all the government agencies knows me very well. So it is a good opportunity. At least they hear me. I mean, so everyone discuss with me. And another good thing for me, I'm working as a professor at, it is called as BUET, Bangladesh University of Engineering Technology. It is the #1 top university in Bangladesh. So BUET has, I mean, significant influence of the government decisions for the infrastructures. So that gave me another opportunity, because when from BUET we, I mean, say something, they take it very seriously, because the people of Bangladesh has strong respect for our university, because it's like MIT in USA, MIT, Purdue, USA. So, and BUET is very influencing in Bangladesh. I'm very fortunate as faculty member. So that is the answer. So now most of the government agencies, they know Vetiver system very well. At least they have heard, and they try. But definitely there are a lot of problems. You know, it should be in the schedule, it should be in the budget. So many things, construction problems also. And the difficult thing is when contractors do the construction, especially for the How regions, they have only 2 to 3 months construction time. So the contractor is not willing to delay his work because it is natural, because it is business. So the protocol for developing to construct 2-3 months and for using bioengineering system. So I'm working with that, with the LGD, our local government engineering department, because they have to have this protocol that they have to start this tendering process at least 1 year back, so that the contractor, they can make the nurseries and other preparation well ahead. So they will have very limited construction time. So in that time, they can do the construction of the embankment, preparation of the slope, and also the plantation. So in that way, so it is really is not simple task, because, you know, contractor has to finish his work on time. Otherwise, he will be, I mean, loss in loss. So that is one thing. So these things to put into in very general way in the, I mean, contract documents, you know, as all of you are very experienced person, is not simple. I mean, the contract, for example, I can say one example. For example, the vetiver plantation or turfing is only the 3 to 5% of the project, for example, the cost. So the contractor finishes his 95% work and he gets the bill for 95%. And sometimes the contractors don't bother about even this 3 to 5% payment get back. So he just do something and left away, because he's not bothered about this 3 to 5% money, because he may use his time in another project, which is very important in terms of monetary. So, but many contractors themselves has been motivated because they have understood that that is good for their country, for their people. So in that way, the engineering society also trying to motivate them. But in short, I'm Susan, I can tell you the impact and the image of bioengineering system using vetiver for all the government agencies in Bangladesh, and also other private universities and public universities, has become a significant factor in Bangladesh.
Oh, that's good. Well done. Congratulations on your hard work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And another thing I have to share with you, most of the, we have 106 or more than 105 private universities, and about 30, more than 30 public universities. So around 135 or 140 universities. So what is going on now, many universities, they arrange a lecture for me, 3 to 4 hours. When it was in person, now some online. And also I do actually work in many things like Podda Bridge, flyover, elevator expressway, airport development. That is another side. I do have to do this consultation from my university. I have engaged in so many big mega projects, but this is another side. And also I developed a tool for low-cost house design which has been published in 2 languages, that is in English and French and also in Bengali. So 3 languages, in fact. So that is for rural house design in Bangladesh. So the universities are arranging a 3 to 4 hours lecture for me, and the students are so motivated, so motivated. I do give the lecture how to deal with very simple things like vetiver grass and rural house design. And many students, young engineers, has become motivated to work with this vetiver system or rural house in Bangladesh.
Well, you've certainly done a lot in the last 4 or 5 years since ICV 6. It's very good what you've done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, do we need, there's no other presented. Paul, would you like to say something before we move on?
Or just if you can get that presentation about the Dutch program, a student, storm surge by planting the vetiver, you stop the overtopping. I mean, you can reduce the height of the dike.
Yeah.
The planting you've done there,
yes.
The one on the river, is that a brackish water or fresh water?
That is here is floodplain is fresh water.
Fresh water, yeah.
Yeah.
You've done any of the brackish water?
Yes, we did some in Shondip channel. The Shondip that is in saline zone. That is in saline zone.
Yeah.
So both. But especially in the saline zone, it was very difficult to grow the vetiver in the canal bank due to the very high salinity. Because as you know, so you need to irrigate the vetiver plants using fresh water.
Yeah.
In the beginning. Yeah. But after COVID has come, so it has become very difficult to take water from other places to irrigate. But some parts they are survived.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Bangladesh Army, they tried very hard, but due to COVID, the communication is stopped at the present. But they told me that the growth rate is about 40%, 50% in many places in that high saline zone.
Yeah. In the Mekong Delta in Vietnam, the vetiver can survive, sort of a short period of sea water come in, as long as sort of, tidal up and down, and that it can survive. But if it's, permanent or over a long period, it will die, but it can survive. So as long as a tidal movement twice a month or something like that, and then it can take quite a bit of seawater. Yeah.
Question, Dick, just a small one. Yes, it's good to see Paul Truong after a long time. I always get refreshed every time I see Paul Truong. That's wonderful. And yes, Shariful, I have a question. When do you decide that you want to use a substrate or a geotextile? Because I see in some of your applications, it is a component that you use. But in the Vietnamese presentation, I see that more of the dependence on a natural material is, it's unique in its proposition. But in your case, I see there is an application of the geotextile. When do you actually decide that you need to go for a geotextile?
Is this a question to me? Should I respond?
Yes, Shariful, please.
Okay. Should I respond, Dick?
Yeah, you can respond. Yeah, sure.
Okay. So actually, it's a good question, Nabi, because actually this is geotextile, but this is jute geotextile. It's not synthetic one. It's our locally made jute geotextile, so it is biodegradable. So the decision is like that. When the authority, they decide just before 1 or 2 months before, or very short time before the rainy season, then the grasses don't have enough time to grow, to take the responsibility. Only for the first season, I mean, that responsibility will be taken by the jute geotextile. And it is after 6-9 months, this jute geotextile becomes, degraded and becomes as fertilizer for the grasses. So that depends on the time, actually. But if we can plant the grasses well before, like 5 months, 6 months before, 4 months before, then we don't need. Again, another thing is if the soil is very sandy, so that it takes also time for vetiver grass to cover the surface. So then it becomes eroded many places. So the first season, this jute textile is very low cost and local made, so it can take the responsibility of the first season. So after the first season, from the next season, the vetiver grass will over the surface and take the responsibility. So that is the concept actually.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I will agree. If the soil is very sandy, you know, if you dredge the sand from the river and you build the bank, I think the jute geotextile is very important, because the vetiver would take probably about at least 6 months.
Yes.
You know, to give the enough roots to hold that sandy soil. So if we can afford the geotextile, I think it's a very good idea.
In Bangladesh, you're planting. You've got that time period of about 4 months to plant, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so do you irrigate or anything like that when you plant? It's obviously planted in the dry season, I guess.
Yes, definitely we irrigate.
You do.
Because there are water sources near everywhere. I mean, pond or some other water sources. So that are being used for the irrigation.
Okay. And is this irrigation done by local communities, or is it paid labor, or how's it done?
Okay, for the union porishad, I mean, for the local government, we use the local people, especially the women, because they are easily available. They can do it part-time. I mean, in the morning and evening. So they get some payment. We call it LCS, Local Labor Contracting Society. That is the concept. So through LCS, LGD, they engage them and they get some monthly payment. So especially the women, they do it. And for the small projects, and for the bridge railing project, I have shown this is a mega project. So they use the technical system. I mean, for irrigating the how is the name? I mean, using truck, they use the irrigation because they have huge system, technical system. So they have no problem. They use a sprinkler method for irrigation.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I just wanted to check on that.
And while starting by Paul, just add to one thing. So we have developed our local industry for this, I mean, jute geotextile. So there is another edition.
Can you see that? No.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Just to show you the type of storm surge, or you know, the sea during the wet season in Vietnam. It's not necessarily during the typhoon. So you can see this what they mentioned is what they call, you know, the engineering term is when the wave hit the bank or any obstacle. In this case is a dike. It will run over and over the top and onto the inside, and that's where the damage you can see all the stone and all the other structure was ripped apart and damage the dike. Yes, please. So well, that's what I mentioned. You know, the traditional method is to use all the rocks and things that one already showed us. The one before.
Do you want to go back?
Yeah. So the traditional method, you can see that you use all the hard structure, and so her research is a combination between the hard and the soft bioengineering method. Yeah. So these to show you the soft solution is, you know, to plant vetiver. And we show that the vetiver grass can grow in the coastal, some of the coastal dike in Vietnam. Okay. Yeah. Next please. So this particular case, that's her research. If she planted the vetiver on the side of the slope and the wave coming in, and see what happened. So that's the model set up
Okay.
in her university in Holland. So to show you the density of the grass without grass and the density of the grass. Yes, it's to apply the condition in the Nam Dinh province in Vietnam.
I'll just go through. You don't
Yeah,
want
it's very quickly.
Okay, this is the practical application of it now, right?
Yeah. So this one to show you the density that's where run up the effect of the vetiver at different planting density to run up the slope. Yeah.
Now, were these was the vetiver planted as hedgerows and the density increased in the number of rows, or was it planted ad hoc?
No, this in rows, and it's the density is a number of rows.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So, okay. So there's not a lot of difference between here and there, is there?
Yeah.
So is this showing the reduction in height?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have, let's say you have a, I mean, what you're really saying is if you have a 9 meter, if you have a 9 meter levee or dike, if you plant vetiver to reduce run up, it's the equivalent of 11 meter dike. Is that what you're saying?
Is that the?
Well, I don't know. I'm just.
This is only. I can read the
No,
height. Yeah.
This I'm just saying. It gave an example. This is 760, and down here it's 7, so it's 60 centimeters.
Yeah. So if you have only one row, it won't run up to 760.
Yeah.
But if you have 4 rows, it's up to 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by having 4 rows, you save half a meter of dike. Yeah.
Yeah. And like Van mentioned before, it costs over $1 million US for 1 kilometer. And this dike, running for 20, 30 kilometers is how much the saving would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. All right.
So this one, just to show you the, it's not actually sea dike, but it's a estuary dike. And Mohammad probably be interested in this one. They build these dikes to protect the prawn or the shrimp farm inside. So it's a tidal movement of the sea. It's not it's not facing, you know, the real tidal of the sea, but it's on estuary. But
Right.
it's during the wet season, it's fairly stormy.
So these are the shrimp ponds here, new ones.
Yeah. You go back a bit, Dick, to see what here. So that is the typical, you know, during the high tide season. It's on the mouth of the river, and it's protected by the normally protected by the mangrove. Yeah.
It seems a combination of mangrove for the first line of defense, followed by a sea dike with vetiver, is a good way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wherever possible, you know, but mangroves doesn't grow everywhere.
Yeah.
It's usually growing on the muddy, you know, ridge of the river. But where you have the really sandy and poor soil, the mangrove don't grow, so you don't have it.
Any comment on this?
So this for so on this particular side, they build I don't know what's pretty long a dyke to protect the shrimp from the inside, and then they, you know, they just they plan by themselves. I mean, I wasn't really involved in this one, but we during that time we worked up in the Cantor, a bit further up in the Mekong Delta, the fresh water. But this particular case is down in the mouth of the Mekong River, right down the sea. So they just planted, yeah.
So this grass here is subject to saline water surge, right?
Yeah, that's what the one I mentioned before. As long as you it's not completely submerged too long, you know, twice a week or a few times a week, the water come in this pure, I mean, probably not 100% seawater, but because of estuary, but probably 80%, 70, 80% salinity of the seawater. It come up more or less half of the height of that and retreat. You can see on the bottom photo there. You can see the water come up and down, and the vetiver can survive, no problem. Yeah.
So
this
but
they plan both sides, but like I said, they just go in and plant it. It's not in rows, anything like that. So from the inside, because away from the seawater, growing really well. Yeah. So this one, the one before, during the high. This is from the outside during the high tidal wave. Yeah. So they planted on both sides. This is 8 years later, and I think I got the date wrong there. But by the time I visit there, these are the old section. They planted altogether about 30 or 40 kilometer dikes, and they planted in sections. So some of them we saw it before. This is pretty new, and some of them, you know, older one. This is the older sections. You can see it on both sides.
It looks to me as though they maintain these. There are no trees growing here. No native plants have come in.
No, that's one of the conditions. The local authority stopped them from planting any trees, anything at all, they can harvest it for animal, for feed and graze a bit, but they're not allowed to plant any trees, anything at all.
So in that way, the integrity of the vetiver remains, isn't it? Yeah,
exactly. Because if you got trees right next to it, and then the vetiver will be, the growth won't be as good as that because of the shading. The tree will shade it out. Yeah, fairly patchy. But it has to be open like that, and it run for 10, 20 kilometers long on these dikes. I mean, it's amazing when we keep driving, and on different sections you have the way the people come in, cutting it, burning it, or doing something with it. So it varies, but this is probably the best section of it.
It keeps the weeds out too. Samsun, can you manage? Is that feasible in the Sundarbans on some of the dikes?
Definitely, definitely. I see there are similar situations arising, especially for the presentations that I saw from Vietnam, and also from Bangladesh. We are almost sharing the same geography, so I think these are quite doable work that if pursued in the right direction, we definitely can make this happen.
It seems to me that if you can get the people on side and get them to understand that it's doing a good job for them, and they'll look after it better. And particularly if they're involved, to get some, you see here's some more. How old would this be, Paul? 8 years, 10 years?
Yeah, I would think so, yeah. I mentioned before 12 there, but probably at least 8 years old.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
And the other thing, what I mentioned earlier on, is that road, the vetiver sort of keep the roadways drier.
Yeah.
So it's during the before the vetiver was planted, it keep the foundation get wet and sinking because this is purely alluvial.
Yeah.
So if you got the vetiver there, it protects the foundation of the roads to the roadways, so that the roads is more stable, and that's another reason why they pave it. But before that, it's no use to pave it because you will crack and sink.
Yeah.
So
very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
And Dick, I would also ask the opinion of Shamirda, of he can give some inputs as to because see, as we do the applications, the people component is very important, and how we are going to engage them and how they should find the confidence in doing so. So this is a both-way task. Like the way as experts panel do propose, the people have to be motivated to do this, and the government to take it forward. So I think we have a lot of tasks to be done, especially in the Sundarban, where I think the situation is still in a very difficult situation.
Yeah. Well, I think to upscaling this I'm sure the vetiver will work pretty well. There's no doubt about it. These images we've seen this evening have been all from somewhat similar areas, same sort of climate. Many of the problems are the same, and if we're going to get this done in 10 or 20 years and not 100 years, then it has to be done at scale, and you've got to have a program, a plan which involves the communities. They've got to be trained, they've got to be learned to understand what's happening, and they've got to see the benefits of it. but there's a hell of a lot of work to be done in a relatively short time. Otherwise, they're going to be, you know, events are going to take over, I'm afraid. Right, what else we got? Let's see what else. There's a new dyke.
Yeah.
Now, what about the outside batters? Is that going right down to the high water flood level, or does it go further down? Further?
I'm not sure, but I mean it's right to the high tide, I think.
Yeah. Is this brackish or is this seawater or brackish water or fresh?
It's a little bit not too far from the sea. Like I said before, probably at least 75 or 70 to 80%.
Okay, all right. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, vetiver's harvested for forage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're allowed to harvest.
If they regularly maintain it, like, I mean, it's a form of maintenance, harvesting, because it cuts out a lot of the dead material at the same time.
Yeah.
And gets rid of the weeds, and the vetiver tillers more. It's pretty good.
I think they're allowed to burn it too. It's by the look of it.
This looks as though it's been planted by the communities, isn't it? It's not very well planted.
Oh, they just plant it randomly. I mean, it's not in rows, anything like that. That's what I told them.
Paul, I've got an issue with the transfer of this kind of activity from a controlled type of political system as in Vietnam to a more liberal, uncontrolled type of situation that might occur in India or Bangladesh. You're indicating that the communities are motivated to participate, they get benefits from use of the forage, and that there are laws in place saying that they can't touch or plant other things. My experience, at least in Madagascar, was that without that kind of legal framework, communities had to be motivated in other ways. And the communities had to be motivated mostly with some form of revenue that could be gotten from the work that they were doing. So in the case of protecting roads that are on top of dikes, are there any road barriers in Vietnam, say during the rainy season, to protect a given roadway? Can communities collect tolls, for example, for people using a protected roadway? In Madagascar, we put in place these social organizers who went into the communities to plant the idea of what vetiver was and how they, the community, could earn money from not only providing plants and having the plants sold, but once the protected area was done, then they gained a certain amount of revenue from users who benefited from that particular infrastructure. And until that happened, projects came in, put in the vetiver, put in the protection, did demonstrations, and it all went out the window because the communities didn't get anything from it. It was a top-down approach. And so it would seem to me that something unique to Bangladesh and India has to be developed that motivates the community to participate, and that invariably that revolves somewhere around money. It's not goodwill. It's certainly not for the benefit of people living in the big cities. Something has to be there. And so I'm asking, have you guys, particularly in the Sundarbans, found something that motivates communities to participate? And participate not just for a demonstration, but over a longer period of time. And that to me is the key challenge. The technology is there, it works, the environment allows it to, but how do you motivate the community to get involved in the beginning and go in it for the long haul?
Yeah, I agree with you completely there. Now, in Vietnam, it's the local authority, like in this particular case, is the engineer in charge of it. They have absolute power. They go in, and then if you don't do it, they fine you, take to court or doing all sorts of things. But where in countries, in places where you don't have the total, I mean, really, strict control, and then we need the motivation or some mechanism to show the benefit of it, and the local community come in and maintain it, and then look after it, and that it will work. But if not, they're going to burn, they're going to raise it, the things like that. The same thing with the Ho Chi Minh highway. One can tell you that very strict once the Department of Highway adopted, and we planned it, and then really strict control. You can, I think you cannot. I think you can graze goats, or you can cut the grass, but you're not supposed to put a buffalo on it. Something like that, Japan.
Well, I just think that where those kind of authoritarian societies have used vetiver, it's worked very well. Vietnam, China comes to mind as being able to do this. However, in places where the local government is not strong, and that the only people that are going to benefit are the communities themselves, there's no corruption involved, it's not very expensive, you can't bribe officials. It's all about low-cost technology being put in place for the benefit of the community, but having the community take the ownership, and then do all the maintenance, do all the recurrent costs recuperation, and in the long run, really take ownership of that particular stabilized infrastructure for the benefit of the community. And that in Madagascar, it worked very well during the life of the project. For 15 years, road users associations using vetiver to protect their infrastructure, it worked very well. But as soon as the project ended and there was no more supervigilant, the community slowly fell apart because the truckers would come in and exhort, and corruption came into place, and these things fell apart. And so I'm still very curious about the psychological tool that has to be put in place to motivate people to use the vetiver in the long run. And it is very curious how successful Vietnam has been, how China's success has been just astronomical, and yet other places less so. It's just
okay, let me interrupt you there a minute, Dave. Samir, what are your views on that?
So what is your question?
The question is, the problem is, it looks to me and looks to all of us that the vetiver grass could be very important for stabilizing your embankments and a lot of other uses in the Sundarbans. The question is, will the communities get involved, and will they do it properly, and will they maintain the system once it's properly established?
If local people are being convinced that it may be effective in Sundarban area, then local people will be interested, number one. Without the help of local people, it cannot be matured, it cannot be done. The project cannot be done successful. Second thing, government or agencies also should be approached for this type of grass plantation and all this. And the most important thing is international environment organizations should be activated and they should take part in these activities. So people are always fighting against climatic attack and local difficult situations. So if they can get avenue to come out of this problem, though the environmental problem will be there, a permanent thing, still to face it, this grass project can be effective. So we can try with local people, then local government, and finally our India government, West Bengal government, and through international agencies, this grass can be planted here in different part of Sundarban, both Bangladesh and West Bengal Sundarban areas.
Okay, you've had Samsun. You've been involved with the riverbank stabilization in Nadia district, I believe.
Yes, Shumita, he's asking me about the previous implementation that we did in West Bengal, because that is a bit I like to share it to the forum, especially when it started. It started sometime back in 2012 in a small location called Khanakul. But I did a video on that and it was not sustainable because the sourcing of the plant wasn't correct. However, in the second phase that we did in the Nadia district, which we consider as a successful one, number of blocks mobilized their self-help groups to do the nursery development, especially near the river banks. And the project was for 740 kilometers, though we have only covered a small part of it, and it could be one of the longest riverine vetiver projects. However, that time our district magistrate was Vijay Bharti and nodal officer was Dr. Babulal Mahato, under whom I was supervised and I had to work. So I helped the communities to start developing the nurseries, especially near the river banks. And then people started taking interest in this subject because it was all new altogether. And during that period of time, I think Dr. Paul Truong had made a visit to West Bengal and he could read the initial success of the vetiver because it did integrate very well, especially the rivers like Bhagirathi, Churni, Podda. So there are some rivers which there was good or successful implementation through the Manrega scheme. So the Manrega scheme took care of just providing the wages to the local labor, and we did form some consortium of NGOs who did supply the vetiver saplings sourced from Assam initially, but then later it was sourced from South India to make it more successful. So to tell you frankly, now the project has gone up. It is doing well in Nadia district. However, in other districts, we are still at a very initial stage, but the real success of the vetiver project can be ascertained only from Sundarban. That was only a feedback I got from one of the government officials. They say that only when we stabilize or when we are able to successfully integrate vetiver into the Sundarban region and people are get the confidence in it, we can rate this success story.
But who's going to fund all of this? Have you got links into funding agencies at the point in which projects are designed such that a given economic activity will insert vetiver as one activity among others with respect to up and coming projects? In other words, are you well connected with these kinds of agencies or government officials? How do you get attention?
Yes, see, normally this particular project is only being funded through the Manrega scheme. And, Manrega scheme is never for the asset building. It is more or less like a liability, and people do the work, they put their attendance to do the work, and normally it is taken in a very casual approach. But vetiver does involve some technical aspects as well, because the maintenance and the selection of the variety are two vital aspects of the vetiver. And if we are doing any mistake in the initial stages on this one, the project is a major failure. So we have seen some successes in Nadia, and we have also seen some major failures in Nadia. So this is a mixed experience, but I think still vetiver can go ahead.
You have started one nursery in Rudranagar, Sagar Island of South Sundarban.
Yes, sir. That we have done. It is in a very small scale, and we selected the variety from South India. Some local farmers have also taken, but to the extent of damage that happens, we need more saplings and more nurseries in that region. So that is again on a project side that we can discuss. But at the moment, yes, we have done one small nursery development in the Rudranagar block, Shumoti Nagar, especially village of
Sagar block, Rudranagar block headquarters.
yes, sir. That's right. You are right, sir.
Syed, how big is a small nursery? What are you talking about? 10 square meters, 100 square meters? How big?
We call that almost one bigha. 1 bigha or less than 1 bigha. That is a small nursery.
1 bigha. Well, I don't know that measure.
Yeah. Bigha I will give you. The figure of the bigha is.
Decimal jane or decibel?
Decimal jane.
Square meter kore bole dao.
Square meter kore bole. It is about 2,500 square meter.
Quarter a hectare.
That's big. That's big for a small nursery.
2,500 square feet.
But that has been affected to some extent, and it is not so big now. As you know, there was very low maintenance, and people, I had to uproot some of the saplings from there and distribute it amongst those people who got affected during Amphan. So I did, one of our friends who is there in Rudranagar, he took up the responsibility of uprooting some vetiver and supplying it, or asking other communities to do small plantation in their own houses. And now the vetiver nursery would be smaller. It will not be more than 1,000 square meter.
But this is a community nursery. It's
yes,
not an individual farmer. Okay, by law or because of the erosion problem, the land next to the river, usually the people are not allowed to build on it. They can farm, they can grow crops, but under this scheme, the government sort of, I'm not sure what the Samsun can say, that they cannot grow crops anymore there for small compensation, and then they have to plant vetiver. So that nursery he mentioned about over a hectare, that's a community nursery, not an individual farmer nursery.
Right.
Can I share something about the community involvement?
Yes, Karen.
Okay, so what we do is that for the project that we usually plant the vetiver in another province, when we have projects, we usually come up there, and instead of transport the vetiver from the from the nursery very far, a very long distance to the site, we usually come out of there and then give the vetiver to the community and ask the people over there who are interested in the growing the grass to have their the community nursery or their own nursery, so that they can learn about vetiver, and after that they can provide the vetiver to the project, and after that, if the project is successful, it can scale up, then they can continue to supply the vetiver to the project. In that way, we get the involvement of the community. There is a guy in Quảng Nam, next to Danang. He used to provide the vetiver to the Ho Chi Minh City the Ho Chi Minh Road project, and now after that he become an expert. He learned about vetiver, and even now he provide vetiver for the project in another province and do the plantation. I think that Paul meet him already with the fact. Do you remember him, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah. And another one is when we come up to the mountainous area where they have a lot of landslide, we try to looking for the group of people like sometimes it's a religious group who care about the community, and then we talk to them, we work with them, and after that they can look after the project very well, something like that. It does help. And another one is from their idea. I think it's totally possible to do so. I mean that we focus on some, in Vietnam now they have a BOT project, BOT, build, operate, and transfer project that usually, constructed by the private sector. So they are the one who build the project and they do all the maintenance. And sometimes, these kind of projects can, these kinds of investor, they can, use the vetiver instead of the hard structures because they want everything is good enough. They want the project with the low cost and low maintenance, and for the structure have a can survive a long time. So in that way we can involve in the maintenance and also the community to involve in the project as well. So yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's I won't say the technology side is relatively straightforward. I won't say it's simple, but it's straightforward. And if the initial plan, for example, was to do 200 kilometers of embankment and stabilizing rehabilitating the whole thing, but initially probably just using vetiver where you can, then it's a matter of some arithmetic, working out how much vetiver you need and how many plants you need and over how many years. And then from there, you can work back to how many communities are getting involved. And then you come back to say, right, we're going to need 500 or 1,000 small nurseries, 1,000 communities. And then you've got to go in there and talk to these 1,000 communities and discuss with them and train them. And so there's a whole sort of service infrastructure which has to be put together in order to get the communities into a situation where they can do it themselves and to continue doing it after the main program is finished and maybe extended back into their farmland and so on. It's managing the people is much more complex than the actual technology. And that's where you've got to give a lot of thought and put some constructive plans forward, which potential people who are going to invest or fund the program, whether it's GOI or whoever, can look at and say, okay, we understand this. We need so many crores of money, and it's going to be planned and put together in such a way. So that would seem to me is the next step you've got to do, is to decide exactly what you want to do and how much you want to do, and then put some figures to it and put some management and planning ideas. I don't know. That's my view. I mean, there are people in, there's a vetiver guy in China, Feng Ziwan. He's got 20 hectares of nursery. I mean, he does a lot of work, but you need millions of plants. It's not just a couple of bigas here or there. If you want this to be successful, you've got to have millions of plants. It's got to be properly planned. You've got to have the community on side. You've got to have the right people from the government and the NGOs, whoever it might be, to help train people and help get things organized. And that's the complicated part and the difficult part.
Yep.
I don't know what you guys think. Maybe you have different views, but
certainly in Madagascar, it was 1/4 of the entire effort was social organization of communities involved in vetiver planting.
yeah.
1/4 of the cost. And because a lot of effort was placed in training social organizers, going into the communities, recruiting somebody, bringing them back out, giving them proper training, putting them back into the community, well, they never left, well before any of the vetiver came, and having the right environment to actually accept the vetiver and then accelerate. But most importantly, what do you do when you finish the work and the community is left with, what do I do now? And so providing the leadership at the community level was really unique and very important. And so the social organizers were, in my opinion, the reason why the project succeeded, because the technology was rather straightforward, as you said. Without it, for example, in the Congo, never got past square one because of the lack of the social organization.
You were saying, Samir?
Hello.
Hello, you were saying something. Couldn't hear.
Just I was telling something regarding this conference to one of my friend who accompanied me in Sunderban area during last cyclonic weather. Just I was explaining him what discussion going on.
Okay. All right. Okay.
May I add something? Very short.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, carry on.
Okay.
Open discussion.
Yes. So actually, for the motivation, the first key thing is the local people. They always want hard solution for their embankment or for the village. This is common explanation of the local people.
Yeah.
So if you bring soft solution to the local people, so they don't like to accept it because they thought that so they are undermined. So what to do? At first, I mean the local leaders and the local people should give the confidence, as Susan mentioned. So they have to see that their benefit, that what will be their benefit. So if it is convinced well, I mean the local people, so the next step is the training, as you have mentioned, of plantation, nursery preparation, and maintenance. So if these two can be blended, and in the third one, if the local people can really see the benefit to them, so then they own it. So if 1, 2, 3 is combined together, so then the projects in the local level can be bring out. So these 3 things we have to keep in our mind. So without these 3 things, a local community, we cannot be successful. This is my experience from Bangladesh part.
I think that occurs in most places if you want some success. Yeah.
And I have a small question.
Hello? Lost you. What about Jim? Jim, you look as though you've gone to sleep.
They did a while ago. Well, it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
It's 1 o'clock. It's late for Jim.
Yeah.
Jim.
I'm going to have to check out too. It's been 2.5 hours here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I think over here we need to do the next plan of action. Especially, I would request Shumirda, because he is connected with the local government as well as the state government, to initiate a proposal based on Vetiver.
Lost my connection. Sorry. Yeah. Please carry on.
Yeah, to initiate a proposal based on the discussions that we're going to have, and let them know that there is an international community or international forum based who have the technical expertise to deliver. So if that is assured, and I think Sumida is capable enough to actually talk to the stakeholders back in the state, and then after a few discussions, we can go to the next level of discussion where we can involve some government officials to be a part of the of this Vetiver integration program. So probably I think we can go step by step. Shumirda will give us a feedback. আপনি যদি কিছু বলেন Shumirda এই বিষয়ে।
Yes, we can go ahead.
I mean,
go ahead, discuss with different agencies, local people.
yeah. I mean, Samir, what do you? I mean, are you convinced that this vetiver grass will solve some of the problem?
Actually, still I am not aware of this grass, and this due to our own climate, I don't know whether it will be effective or not. Saline water and laterite zone, our Sunderban.
It seems to do pretty well down in the Mekong Delta. I don't think that's greatly different. In Bangladesh, it's in the similar areas to Sundarban. It's from what Mohammed says, it looks as though it's doing rather well, and it looks as though you're going to be able to scale up soon. Is that right, Mohammed?
Yes, I think it can be scaled up.
Samsun, you have your work cut out for you to persuade Samir that vetiver will do well in saline conditions.
We have to make a very strong plan. If you allow me, I have one question to Man. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. So it's not a question. I just a small discussion. You put 2 rows of bamboo, right? And another one is at the top.
Yes.
Bamboo post. So I guess I'm not sure you can do the analysis. If you tie the bamboos just using some wire, it's still wire.
Yeah.
So maybe that will give more integrity to the slope. I just thought, I mean, an idea. I mean, that will not increase your cost, but if you just tie down these 2 bamboo posts and another on the upper, so if you can tie it.
We tie up.
Oh, you tied up. Okay, I can see that. Okay, okay, then it's nice. I mean, that's
tied up. You connect all together to make it rigid.
Make an integrated. Okay, that's great.
You can see it. I can send you the more photos, and you can see.
Yes. So I can see the in your model. So definitely that will give you more strength for the stability against slip circle. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Well, it's getting late. Well, for us it is.
Yes.
It's 11:15 here, and I'm a lot older than some of you, so I need to go to bed soon. I think the next step should be. I mean, this is not. Let me tell you something now. This is not our. I mean, the vetiver network. We're here to help, but and we have people all around the world who have expertise in using vetiver, and you have people in this meeting tonight from Vietnam and Bangladesh who've used it very successfully. And it is these people like the Vans and Mohammed are the people who can best give you technical advice on vetiver under the conditions you want to use it. And they're on your doorstep in a way. I mean, I know COVID is a problem, but you should be talking to them if you're serious about moving forward with a program. The vetiver network itself, the organization, myself and Paul Truong and others, we're really just advisors. And I want to make that quite clear. We don't do projects. You guys have got to do the projects, and you have to find the money, and you have to convince the government of India and the West Bengal government that this is the way you want to go. And if you feel this is the way you want to go, we can give you, we can give you some support if you need it, but you need to ask us. And we'll give it very quickly if you do ask us, but we're a very small organization, and but we have a lot of people around the world who are using vetiver for all sorts of technologies. And we've only talked tonight about just a few of them for embankment stabilization. There's all sorts of other ways of using vetiver for cleaning up effluent, wastewater, and all sorts of things, which are needed in countries like Bangladesh and West Bengal and India as much as other parts of the world where they're using it for that purpose. So I don't know if Samsun, you would like to sort of wrap this up, say something, tell us what you want to do next.
Yes, yes. As I have discussed with you, that there are a number of things that we need to do. We need to revisit the Sundarban region. I will be communicating with Shamirda and his team, which is present in Sundarban, especially collect a number of data and vulnerable points, especially find out a location where we can also think of a first pilot implementation for this project. But before that, we need to have certain discussions with that. We have to have the administration, take the administration into confidence that we are the ones who want to do this project. Especially vetiver is available in our site. It is very much deliverable or very much transferable to Sundarban region. And also we need to have a program before a set of program that has to be designed for this vetiver project. So for that, I consider he's talking with the authorities and administration is very important. In terms of training material and documentation, I think we can support him as well as his team to know more about the vetiver and create something that will help us to first integrate with the local governments, local people, and the state government, and probably then go further to develop a proposal. So that is a little later, but as of now, we need to mobilize people who can start doing the initial cultivation or the farming. So for that, we need to have a discussion with Shomirda, and he is the best to tell how we can go about in the region.
Okay. Well, I think I'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight or today, this morning for some of you. And it was quite useful, and I learned a few things from this meeting. But I hope that those of you who've attended tonight can continue the discussion between yourselves. And I know that since we're all part of the same vetiver family, that I'm sure most people will be very happy to continue that communication, whether it's on a one-to-one basis or perhaps another meeting. I mean, for example, you might want to have a purely technical meeting where you get some of the key expertise like Mohammed and Tran, and get some of the engineers from West Bengal and have a little Zoom meeting and discuss it a bit more. That's another thing you could do. Anyway, it's up to you. We'll help if you want it. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Van. That's really kind of you. Good to see you all.
Good to see you all.
Nice to see you, Paul.
Right.
And Mohammed, you've done a great job there. It's really nice to see what you've been doing. I can tell you that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Samir, for joining us. I know it's a first discussion, but I think we got some good ideas. We could certainly do, if you can get your people to do it, you've got a solution, I can assure you. I mean that. And it's a very unique grass. Vetiver grass is not like other grasses. It's special, and it can solve a lot of your problems.
Okay, we'll go ahead with this project.
Well, I hope so. Well, let us know. Okay.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Dick. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
all.
your time.
Thank you all.
Okay, I'm turning off now. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.